Hello, I'm Sally Stanton and welcome to Snacks and Suitcases, the podcast packed with tips, tricks and real-life stories to make travelling with kids of all ages a whole lot easier and way more fun. And today's episode is all about doing the big lap around Australia.
Hurry up, Mum. Come on.
Okay, let's get started. Do you love a good road trip? Ever dreamed of packing up the fam, hitting the highway and taking off on a year-long adventure around Australia? Well, that's exactly what today's guest is doing. My old friend Simone, her husband Luke and their two kids, Louis, who's 10, and Beau, who's 8, are 8 months into their big lap, a classic Aussie journey travelling around Australia in a caravan. They've swapped the school runs for sunrises and sunsets, homework for hands-on learning, and the daily grind for wild adventures. From swimming with whales in Ningaloo Reef to meeting the legendary Catman of the Nullarbor. Yep, he's a real person. They're living pinch me moments every single day. In this episode, Simone shares what sparked the trip, how they prepared for it, and boy, did they prepare. The highs and lows of van life with kids and all the incredible stories in between. If you've ever considered doing the big lap, it's time to turn up the pod and hit the road with Simone. Hello, Simone Skinner Smith, Triple S.
Indeed. Hi, Sally. Hello from Darwin, where I'm currently hiding in my caravan, having thrown my husband and children out so I can have a chat to you.
Darwin, so you're up in the top end. For those overseas, Darwin, explain where Darwin is because it's very much the very top of Australia.
Yeah, literally, very top. So obviously the top of Northern Territory and sort of above us is Asia.
You know, it's the only territorial state that I haven't been to in Australia. I feel terrible because I really want to go, but I haven't been there.
You should come, and you know what's going on at the moment. It's coming up to Territory Day, and I don't know if you've heard of Territory Day, but it is kind of like an Australia Day for the Territory, and it's all about the fireworks, and you can legally set off fireworks here. And this is exactly what Territorians are like. Their sort of unique wild spirit in that you can go and buy fireworks and let them off. And I was actually just looking them up, and there's ones called Bad Neighbour and the Trumpinator and all these sort of crazy names so that you can, have a wild time on Territory Day, one night only.
I bet your boys are excited about that one.
Almost as much as my husband.
Oh, dads love fireworks, don't they? Now, as of today, when we're recording, you are celebrating your 8-month van-iversary.
Our anniversary. And look, to be honest, I wasn't quite sure at some points early on in the journey that we would actually even get this far.
Wow.
Before deciding to embark on our 12-month big lap of Australia, had never stepped foot in a caravan before. So looking back, pretty ridiculous and naive and ambitious of us, but you don't know what you don't know, right? And we thought we can do this. This looks fun. This looks amazing. We want an adventure. We want a big life for the kids. We want to get out of Sydney and spend time together. And so we, enrolled in a towing course.
I was going to ask if you did some sort of training first because it's full on out there.
It is.
I assume.
Yes. Yes, it certainly is. It's wild. Yes, but look, in retrospect, we didn't really do nearly as much as we should have. So we did a 4-wheel drive course where we learnt to use all the funny buttons on our 4-wheel drive that are for things like going over rocks and ice and things that you just don't need in the city. We then did a towing course where we learnt how to actually tow our home behind us. We then hired the caravan and got a sort of 2-hour quick introduction on how it all works. We went and did, this one's quite funny in retrospect, we went and did a bush survival course at our local national park so we could start a fire and, tie knots and all the things we thought we'd might come in handy on the road when we go off grid in our caravan.
Was that in the Royal National Park?
Yeah, Ku-ring-gai, up at Ku-ring-gai actually.
Oh, okay, Ku-ring-gai.
Yeah, and then we hit the road.
Well, Simone, you are more than prepared for this, I think. Well, it sounds like you should have been with all that training.
Yes, you'd think, right? You'd think, but it's like I said, it's the things that you don't know what you don't know. And it's learning how to understand how solar panels work in a caravan and power and water, all these things that I will never, ever take for granted again. That's for sure, is Wi-Fi, running water, flushing toilet, and a constant supply of electricity. But look, it sounds like I'm being negative here. It's been an amazing ride. It's just been the first few weeks of getting your head around if you're a completely novice caravanner was a lot, that's for sure.
So what actually sparked the idea to take this year off and do a big lap around Australia?
It's a great question, and I'm almost embarrassed to tell you the answer, but Instagram. Sitting in bed and up at night, not being able to sleep and looking at other families traveling around Australia in a caravan in these most incredible locations, doing the most incredible things and doing it together and thinking, that looks awesome. That's the kind of life I want to lead and that's what I want to do. And that led to buying books on caravanning, to going to the caravanning super show out in Sydney. And then it kind of resulted in us, having a conversation with my husband and going, hey, what about this? And he said yes.
And your Instagram is gorgeous. The pictures are stunning. That's where I saw you were having a van-anniversary. I love that word.
Yep. No, thank you very much. Look, we're in some amazing locations. It's hard to take a bad photo or video, really.
Okay, so you did all the courses, you studied hard, you passed the test. Did you have to buy a caravan, buy a four-wheel drive?
Yeah, look, we bought the four-wheel drive and we decided to hire the caravan, which is a whole nother discussion I could go on for ages in itself, because caravans are a bit like boats. If anyone's ever owned a boat, they're sort of expensive purchases where a lot can go wrong and they can drain a lot of money from you. So we actually decided, we sort of crunched the numbers of buying versus hiring. Having never stepped foot in one, we thought hiring would be the better way. And it turns out has been. We hired it from an amazing local family business in Sydney called Off the Grid Caravans. And they were basically like a life support line for us when things went wrong in the early days. It's kind of like the old phone a friend when things go wrong. And we'd pick up the phone and ask them, we can't get the hot water, or we've run out of power. And look, 9 out of 10 times it was things we were doing wrong. But a few times it was stuff that was, had gone wrong with the van, and they would troubleshoot it with us and they would help us out. We even had, in the early days, our caravan leak. The roof leaked with water over our bed. And we found ourselves sitting around the table while it was raining outside and hearing a drip, 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 and looking at our doona, which was starting to turn into a sponge at 7 o'clock at night. Where were we? The Mornington Peninsula in Victoria, and going, what do we do now? And we literally phoned them up. Later that night, we found ourselves in a hotel in Melbourne, and the next day our van was booked in to be fixed, and we actually had a little mini holiday from our holiday in a hotel. So, so the short answer to that question is that, we hired a van, and that sort of has worked out really well for us.
Oh, fantastic. It's kind of like NRMA for a caravan.
Oh, we've used them too. We used them too when we ran out of petrol on the side of the road one day. And that's also a whole nother story.
Well, I was going to ask, did you get off to a smooth or rocky start?
I dare say we got off to a very, very rocky, bumpy, tumultuous start.
Wow. So it was a steep learning curve then?
Very steep. Put it this way. I think within the first 2 weeks, we'd managed to run out of petrol, run out of water, and run out of power. The 3 things you never want to run out of at various points in your travel experience. But like I said, it's a learning curve. We've learned from that how everything sort of works in the caravan, what you need to do. But look, things go wrong. We've had to have solar panels replaced on the roof of the caravan recently when we were in Broome. There's just, I think the biggest thing I'll say is there is never, ever a dull moment on the road. Just when you think you've sort of got your head around things and you're sorted and you're off to a, flying start, something will go wrong and you're sort of, you're humbled again, brought back to your caravanning novice status, and off you go again.
Well, you're 8 months in now, so I would call you a professional, Simone.
You know what? We've actually started helping other people. So I'm going to take that and say, yes, we are. Like, we've had to help some tourists jumpstart their car recently. We helped a safari bus in, where were we? On the Gibb River Road, have a flat tyre. They didn't have a jack. We got out and helped them. So we've kind of repaid the kindness of strangers along the way. And I think that's been an amazing thing we've learned on this trip is the caravanning community is just so helpful, so kind. One of our sort of biggest hurdles we faced was the time when we ran out of petrol on the side of a one-lane highway in a national park at 5 p.m. on my son's 10th birthday.
Oh, no.
And we literally found ourselves in a real jam where we didn't know what to do. My husband was in the process of pulling his bike off the caravan to bike back to the nearest town to get us petrol and leave me and the kids on this side of, well, we weren't even on the side of the road. We were still on the road because we couldn't
I'm getting Wolf Creek vibes, just scaring me.
I know, right? Luckily, I wouldn't let anyone watch that before we left on this trip. But we had a guy pull up, literally come to our rescue. He managed to drain diesel from our diesel heater, which we didn't even know we had a diesel heater to warm up the caravan, to fill up our car again and get us going and get us off the side of the road and to safety, which then we called NRMA and got actual petrol delivered to us and we got off and away again. But we were in a real jam had it not been for him. And that's example one of probably 100 things we've had gone wrong, especially I was going to say, and a big shout out to the grey nomad community of travellers.
We all know them from Bluey.
Yes, exactly. That's a great episode of Bluey. The grey nomads, yes, they drive slowly and we do too now because we're pulling a caravan. We don't go over 80, but they are so helpful. They've always got so much advice for you and they always know where the cheapest petrol is.
Do you ever see the same people twice? Like, have you made friends with these people and bumped into them at other caravan parks? Because there are other families doing these big laps.
Yes. So when we embarked on our trip, we decided to go clockwise. So that's the big sort of decision you make when you leave on a big lap of Australia. Do I go anti-clockwise? And if you're leaving from the sort of east coast, that involves going up and north and then across, or do you go down south and across and round? It often depends on what time of the year you're leaving, i.e. the seasons. You want to be down south, obviously, when it's warmer because you don't want it too hot, and then vice versa for the other half of the year. We're in Darwin now because it's winter, because it's the dry season up here.
Yes, yet it's still really hot.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't imagine what it would be like here in the wet, hot season.
Wow,
So in going clockwise, we have started to find we were going with some same families and we were crisscrossing, and we have actually made some incredible friends along the way. One family in particular, we've been crisscrossing all the way up Western Australia. They have 2 children similar age, and our kids have sort of got on so well. We've got on well, the parents as well. And we've even found ourselves babysitting their kids one day so they can go and have lunch and have a break. And they've done the same for us one night. They allowed us, my husband and I, to go and have dinner while they looked after our kids. And I can tell you what, after 8 months on the road and not having like a date night with your husband, it was very well received and appreciated, just having time. And, of course, we sat at dinner and talked about the kids because, that's what you do.
That's you do on
you
date
finally
night.
have a break.
Oh, that's gold. That's what I was wondering. Have you guys had a chance to, be without kids for a day? I thought you were going to say no.
No. Well, once, one 2-hour window. But look, privacy is something that you have to be prepared to have none of on a caravan trip. Even the bathroom, like in our caravan, we do have an onboard bathroom. It literally faces my children's bunks. Their bunk beds. So there is like a very sort of small concertina door between their section of the caravan and ours, but the caravan's 9 meters long. It's small. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. My son opened the door of the shower couple of weeks ago because he wanted something, and I was in the shower at the time, and I was in there holding a takeaway coffee cup and shaving my legs at the other hand because this was my 2 seconds of privacy, and I wanted to enjoy my coffee and obviously get my task done of trying to shave my legs in a caravan shower, which is also a whole nother story. And
I think I'd be letting that go for the year if I were you. Isn't that one of the benefits from traveling around in a caravan?
That is true. They embrace the hairy goat legs.
It's so funny. You know what I've got written down here? Have you had any hairy encounters?
There we go. There you go. Boom tish.
Apart from grooming, any crocodiles, any scary creatures, because you know how they portray Australia overseas? We are this wild country with kangaroos jumping down the street. Living in the city and in most places in Australia, you don't see that. But are you encountering that all the time?
100%. And I think, but it's not what you think. Seeing crocodiles in the Northern Territory has now become normal for us. I literally watched as a crocodile crossed a road, like was literally over the 1-lane road. We were in a sort of conservation wetlands area, and this 2-meter croc, salty as well, because obviously there's a difference between freshies and salties. Freshies are kind of small and cute. Salties want to eat you. And this was
you learned this on the road?
Yeah, this
I
is
had no idea.
Teaching moment.
Oh my gosh.
And then this salty was blocking the road. So what do? You get out of the car, everything they tell you not to do, and you tap the crocodile on the tail and get it so it runs off and gets off the road so you can drive on your merry way.
I'm sorry, what? You tapped a crocodile on the tail?
I didn't. A local Territorian did, who was in the car in front of us to get this crocodile off the road.
I had no idea that that was a thing.
But you know what? What I was going to say is that's not even the scary part. This is normal. You know what's the scariest part about the Australian wildlife and out here?
Yeah.
Mosquitoes. We are being eaten alive. Mosquitoes and flies. They are, forget the crocodiles, forget the jellyfish, forget the sharks. Yes, they're scary, but it's like we all are just covered in red spots at the moment. Midges and mosquitoes and flies are just the biggest pain.
Oh no, what are midges?
And they're the worst ones. They're like little sand flies that you can't see, and they just annihilate you. So this is the stuff you don't see on Instagram, right?
Yes.
You don't see the people covered in the flies or the mozzies.
I thought you might avoid that being there in the cooler months, but no, they're there all the time.
No escape. Yeah, don't worry about the crocs, worry about the mozzies.
You're kidding. Okay. What about brown snakes, spiders, those kind? You know what? I'm not that scared of spiders. Touch wood. I feel like now I'm going to be attacked by a spider. But snakes freak me out. Brown snakes.
Yeah, look, we have. Mostly it's been when we're driving and we've seen them on the road. Yeah, also touch wood, we haven't had too many encounters.
Okay.
They're there. We live outside now. We've gone from living in inner city Sydney, to most days we watch the sunrise and the sunset. We are outdoors. We are in their environment, their playground, and you've just got to get used to it. But yeah, seeing wildlife has been an amazing part of this experience, and really amazing for the kids as well.
Yeah, because they're city boys, right? How have they taken to the outback?
So at first, it was a bit of a struggle. We left term 4 of last year, and we weren't coming across many other children in the direction we were going. Come summer holidays, there were kids everywhere, and it was a game changer. The boys were out playing cricket in caravan parks and were making friends. They were set up a bead stall out front of the caravan where they were making bead bracelets and selling it to other kids and bartering and things like that. It was, it took off after then, and they have loved it. It will be interesting to see how we go back to normal life, and we have sort of joked that, look, it's winter at the moment. You could be back in Sydney wearing your tie and blazer, and instead you're, walking through mangrove spearfishing. Big difference.
These are experiences that most kids in Australia will never have. They probably are too young to really grasp that.
Yeah, I think at age 8 and 10 it's hard for them to grasp that, but that's why we're documenting it so heavily as well, and why we've got our Instagram page so that they can look back, they can see it. And to be honest, we're doing so many incredible things almost every second day that we forget where we've been, and we often have to go back to our page and go, where were we last week? What were we doing? Oh, yeah, we were swimming with whale sharks. Oh, yeah, we were, going spearfishing in mangroves with a local Indigenous elder, all these incredible things, like so fortunate to be doing. And this is why we decided to do it. And these are the moments that make the harder things, the struggles of life on the road, because there are struggles, but they far outweigh those sort of challenges.
Yes, yeah. Let's talk about off-grid, because I thought that just meant no Wi-Fi. Really? That's what I thought. What exactly does it mean?
I love that. And look, that's exactly what I thought 8 months ago too. So off-grid is the term for when you're not in a caravan park, basically when you aren't connected to the grid for power and water. So it means that you're, for example, we found ourselves parked on a beautiful beach called Pullerby Beach in South Australia, where our caravan is literally on the beach. You open the door, there's the water, but we are using the solar panel roof. We're using the solar panels on our roof to get power. We have water tanks in our caravan to get our water out. And we have a Starlink Wi-Fi kit so that we can, which is using satellite devices, thanks to good old Elon Musk, to get Wi-Fi, which is a definite must for all travellers.
Oh, okay. So you have had Wi-Fi the entire time?
Yes, obviously limited to how
amazing.
much. Well, obviously limited to how much you can, use depending on your package, which is also a good ploy to tell the kids, no, you can't go on devices. We've used our Starlink for the month.
Yeah.
But you're no longer restricted to where and when you can be in the middle of the bush and drag your Starlink sort of hub out and point it at the sky, and off you go.
That's incredible, isn't it? Something we didn't have when we were kids, But we didn't know what the internet was. That's how old we are.
Exactly.
What's the longest period you've gone off-grid for?
Well, probably a week, I would say, 7 days. The hard thing with that is water. Because you can only store, obviously sunshine is unlimited, especially with the, time of year where we are, there's plenty of sunshine. It's how much water you can store, and you can actually there are places where you can pull up and get water, but we've actually had to pay for water. Further up you go, sort of especially along the north of Western Australia, sort of around that Exmouth area, water is so hard to come by that we've had to kind of like filling up with petrol. You have to fill up at the water pumps, and I think it was like 20 cents a litre to fill up our water tanks with water.
Wow. Really? Is this drinking water? Can you drink the water?
That's for drinking water, yeah.
Okay.
Potable water is what it's called.
Potable, yeah. So for showers, for washing everything.
Yeah, you can use,
There is so much to learn if you want to do this big lab.
Oh, 100%. Honestly, there is. I'm literally writing a book on it because there is so much. And I haven't even touched on the toilet cassette, and I'm not going to for your listeners.
Look, I have heard. We did a little bit of it as a kid, not as much as you. We drove across the Nullarbor. You know what my memory is from driving across the Nullarbor? I was so young, but I do remember every morning I woke up and I had wet the air mattress because I was too scared to go outside. And so I remember like it hanging on a rope or something. I just have a vision. But something that happened that I did block out is one day we woke up camping across the Nullarbor with a tent full of mice. Full of mice, rodents. I hate mice. I have a bit of a phobia with rats and mice. And I don't remember it, but my mum reminds me. So I think that's why I'm not a fan of camping.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, look, I don't like rodents either, and we've, touch wood, been very lucky not to be graced with their company on this trip in our van. I have heard horror stories, but I have also safeguarded myself. Every bit of dry food in our pantry on board is in a Tupperware container and locked away.
Because there have been some mice plagues recently in Australia. But back to the toilets, I won't go too much into detail, but I have been told you're not really supposed to use the toilet on board when, unless it's an emergency. Because it fills up.
Yes, it certainly does. And when you're a family of 4, it fills up, and you need to empty said toilet cassette at a place called a dump point. Yet another term I had never heard of before this trip.
Delightful.
Yeah, yes. It'll say what you see, hey? Luckily, my husband has, when I say luckily, thankfully, my husband has taken that job onto himself, and I am forever grateful for that. I am yet to empty our cassette, but yes, that is also part and parcel of life on the road.
What are some of your highlights? I bet it's really hard to just narrow it down to one.
I knew this question was coming, and exactly right. I was like, how am I going to sum up 8 months of traveling around this incredible country with the people that I adore? And I think we've spent an awful lot of time in Western Australia this year. Western Australia has been phenomenal. It's not a part of the world that's easily accessible, obviously, to us on the east, and especially the northern section of WA. The Ningaloo Reef blew my mind. Obviously, we all know the Great Barrier Reef over in Queensland. Obviously, in Western Australia, near Exmouth, you have the Ningaloo. You literally take one step off the sand and you're snorkeling with marine creatures and on the coral, unlike, no disrespect to the Great Barrier Reef, also beautiful, but, takes numerous boat rides to get out there.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people. This place it's just teeming with marine life. Like, we obviously did the whale shark swim, which is one of those bucket list activities you can do in Exmouth.
Is that the only place in the world you can do the whale shark swim?
No, I believe you can do it in the Maldives as well, and maybe I think it's Malaysia or the Philippines, but only in Australia that I know of, and it's a season, and it's only for sort of 4 months of the year. And we were just there at the start of the season. We did that. It was incredible. It's out in the open ocean, so having my 8-year-old jump off the back of a boat and swim in the ocean was incredible. He was a little trooper. He literally popped his head up and was like, "That was the best 10 seconds of my life," because this thing kind of just went past and we didn't understand we had to swim with it, and he was too little to sort of swim along with it, clutching his pool noodle. But he absolutely was just blown away by that. We all were.
Is there an age limit for that kind of thing? Well, not a limit, but
it's kind of up
minimum
to
age.
Up to you. I believe that I've seen kids sort of 6 do it, as young as 6. But
you can wear a life jacket kind of thing? Or?
Yeah. You can wear what you want. It is, the day we did it, the conditions were quite choppy, but you sort of have to jump in and
you got to go under.
You swim along next to you. Get a couple of opportunities if you're lucky to do it. The first 2, I was focused on the kids and watching them and making sure they're okay. By the last one, they sat out. They had seasickness and they sat out, and I jumped in for the last one and had the most mind-blowing experience swimming alongside a 4-meter whale shark on the Ningaloo Reef. Just, when you're underwater and it's just silent and it's just you, and it was, really hard to put into words, but one of those things I would recommend if you have the opportunity to do. Absolutely make sure you do it. And it's in our backyard. It's in Australia. You don't have to go to the Maldives, and not even just the whale sharks. We then did a manta ray swim. 4 meters big. This thing was called Freckles because it's known to the locals. And for 15 minutes, we just swam over the top of it, and just its gliding of its wings. The kids were just so enamored with it. We would just go snorkeling just off wherever we were staying with turtles. There's dugongs in the area. There's now even orcas and humpback whales in the Ningaloo.
Oh my gosh, Simone!
Stingrays. I could keep going.
This sounds like heaven.
It is. I honestly said to my husband, I could live here. It's just beautiful. And it's there's sort of 3 prongs to it. There's the Ningaloo Reef, which is on the ocean side. Then you have the Exmouth Gulf, which is like a bay inside, which is they call the humpback whale playground, where they sort of go and they breed. And it's just that in itself is a beautiful section of the area. And then there's the land where there's these beautiful hikes you can do. And, it's stunning. It really is a great part of the world.
It's so funny because Australia is enormous, and most of us who live in Australia have not seen these places.
Yeah.
We stick to the coast, don't we, to the cities.
Yeah, and that's a really good point you make, because I think we're actually going to run out of time on our big lap. We're 8 months in, and I don't think we're going to get to Queensland, which is really sad. But look, we know we can obviously access Queensland living in New South Wales quite easily.
Easier.
So we decided to spend the time in WA and Northern Territory doing those areas really well. But it is massive. Like, We've done drives as long as sort of, a 9-hour day is probably our biggest one. And I know we're going to have another big drive coming up when we go down the guts of Australia, as you call it, down central Australia.
Yes.
But yeah, it's huge. And places like the Nullarbor, around that Exmouth region, you can just drive for hours and see nothing. It's just scrub. It's nothing.
Have you seen any road trains, really, really long trucks?
I think the longest one we saw was about 5 carriages long, but we also had one that rained stones down on us and smashed our windscreen up.
Oh, gosh.
And we had to get a whole new windscreen. But having said that, we've had some great experiences with truckies and road trucks because we have on board our car a radio, a UHF radio, which I highly recommend if you're doing this because it's to communicate with other vehicles. And when you're towing a caravan behind you, it's invaluable. And these road trains, they go fast. They've got, a deadline to meet and they want to overtake you. And if you've got a radio and you just say, sort of radio in and say, yep, it's clear to overtake, they're hilarious. We've had some funny jokes with them and chats and it's been great.
I bet your boys love that. Are they truck lovers?
They are now, that's for sure. They really are. But I think one of the funniest uses of the radio that we had was when we were on the Nullarbor and there was sightings of a man called Catman. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Catman, but I highly recommend you look up, I think it's Strange Catman is his Instagram. He is a young Japanese male who has decided to walk from Western Australia to Sydney pushing a wheelbarrow dressed as a cat.
Oh my gosh. I've got to Google this.
Yes, you must Google him. And I had heard of sightings of Catman at one of the roadhouses we'd stopped at the Nullarbor. And so I got on the UHF radio the next day and put out a call and I was like, hello, anyone out there wondering if you've spotted Catman out there on the road? And my kids, you could imagine their reactions. They're in the back seat, rolling their eyes, going, what is Mum doing now? And there was silence. And I'm like, I'm never going to hear the end of this. They're going to bag me out. And then sure enough, a crackly voice comes in and it's another woman and she says, hey, love, we saw him up the road. He's not far from where you are. He'd love to see you. Keep your eyes peeled.
Oh, my gosh. I'm looking him up right now to make sure you aren't pulling my leg here.
Well, you might even see me in the video on one of his videos because sure enough, we then spent the next 50 minutes staring out the window looking for a male dressed as a cat. Oh, yep.
Is that him? It's hard to see.
Catman.
I'm trying to show you through the screen, but strange Catman adventure hero walking for peace. Oh, wow.
Yep. So we kept our eyes peeled for 50 minutes. And then we spotted him as we were coming to another roadhouse, a petrol station, up the road, pushing his wheelbarrow. I was like, stop the car. And my husband stopped the car safely on the side of the road. We all got out and we sprinted across. We're like, Catman. He was so gorgeous. He was so happy to see us. He has little personalised Catman stickers, which he gave to the kids, which they now have proudly on their water bottles. And we had a chat to him. We gave him a bit of money to get a cold drink and some lunch on us because the poor guy's just sort of funding this whole thing by himself and trying to raise money for charity along the way. And
he's in the desert too.
He's in the desert. Like I thought,
Simone, I've just found you and your family.
See, I told
you're on
you.
his page. I'll have to watch that later.
Sally, you can't make this stuff up, I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh, so Catman is real.
He is real. He's legit. He is a gorgeous guy. And I didn't know all that much about him. So when we were chatting to him, I was like, so Catman, why are you doing this? Like, where are you from? And then as you'll see, if you look him up, he wears a full face, full body cat suit. So you cannot see what this person looks like. And he had this like squeaky little voice. And I was like, Anyway, he takes off his cat mask and it was like a Pantene hair commercial in slow motion.
Oh, wow.
He flicks his hair back and he's got this mane of black glossy hair and he's this gorgeous young Japanese guy. He was just so handsome and gorgeous. My husband bagged me out ever since. He's like, Catman, here we go. She's telling the Catman story again.
Oh, my gosh, Catman, if you're listening, we'll have to tag him, get him to listen in. Have there been anything else you weren't expecting to be amazing, but it's blown your mind?
Yes. Two things, and they were two stretches of road that I was looking forward to the least. I'm all about the beautiful locations, the sunrises, the pretty spots. My husband likes the driving, which is great because I have not driven much / at all since we've been on the trip.
Really?
I am now what they officially call a passenger princess, which is a title I'm happy to take when you've got a big caravan behind you.
But you did the course, Simone. You know how to
Yes.
drive a caravan or
And
tow
if
a
an
caravan.
emergency comes up, I will be jumping on in. But until then, I am a passenger sitting there looking at all the brochures over on the other side of the car. So the two stretches of road biggest stretches of road we've done is obviously the Nullarbor, which I was a bit scared because it was early on in our trip. If you're not familiar, the Nullarbor literally starts sort of Ceduna, South Australia, and it goes along the bottom of Australia where the Great Australian Bight is and into Western Australia. It's known as a whole lot of nothing. I believe Nullarbor even means in Latin no trees is what it means, and it lives up to its name. There are no trees. Well, look, there's a couple, but there's not a lot else along there. But there's some
In the
really...
80s, there were lots of mice.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Thankfully, there's no
Well,
more
somewhere
city.
there was. Yeah.
Maybe Catman got rid of them.
Oh, thank you, Catman.
So
dear.
it was just quirky. The roadhouses there, obviously that's where we saw Catman. It was just really interesting people we met along the way. It was really fun. The next section that was a hidden gem that I was really adamant I didn't want to do was the Gibb River Road. Now, this is known as like one of the sort of four-wheel driving enthusiasts must visit stretches of road. It sort of starts just north of Broome and goes up to, in Western Australia, and goes up to Kununurra, which is up towards the border of Western Australia and Northern Territory. It's about, I want to say, 600 kilometres, but it's unsealed. So that means it's dirt road. And there's just a couple of little roadhouses along the way. But the thing with the Gibb River Road, running parallel to it is a lovely smooth asphalt road, which I'm like, why wouldn't you take that? And my husband's like, no, we're doing the Gibb. And I was like, oh, okay, look, this adventure was essentially my idea, so I've made my bed. I've got to go, lie in it now. Here we go.
Yeah.
So we did the Gibb River Road. It was such a highlight. The thing with the Gibb River Road is you can stop at all these beautiful waterholes, gorges. It is just stunning. And because it is hard to access, there's not a lot of people there. It was really beautiful part of the world, and we had a wonderful time. But you're crossing rivers in your car. Like there's one called the Pentecost River, which is literally, it features in the Baz Luhrmann film Australia, actually. It's like this really long, pebbly river that sort of you drive across. We managed to get stuck in mud at one point, which was hilarious. We were on our way to a wilderness lodge called Mount Hart, and we literally were like pigs stuck in mud. Our nearly 7-ton car and caravan got stuck in this thick mud, and we had to get out and put down the max tracks and get ourselves out, which we managed to do, made a hilarious video, as you could imagine. We were covered absolutely head to toe in mud, and this wilderness lodge, when we got there, it was so funny. Sorry, I'm cracking myself up just thinking about it, because it's like, think of like a White Lotus sort of wilderness lodge style, beautiful, fancy place where we discovered when we pulled in, most people fly in by helicopter or by chartered plane. And we drove through this and we arrived like the mud people, like we'd come out of a lagoon covered in mud, and everyone's sitting there in their white linen, crisp white linen, sipping their cocktails, and we're like walking in like we've come out of like a swamp. It was so funny. But yeah, that was one stop on the Gibb River Road, but it was really, a really amazing sort of stretch of the world. But without rambling on too much, another amazing spot we went to, which I would also highly recommend, is the Tiwi Islands. Have you heard of Tiwi Islands?
Yeah, from your Instagram.
Good. Obviously that's in Northern Territory, just north of Darwin, and it's a 30-minute charter flight or a 3-hour boat ride over. Okay. We took the charter flight option, which turned out to be an adventure in itself. Our car was bigger than this plane.
Oh, yeah,
a
little
single-
planes do make me a bit nervous. I shouldn't say that. My sister's a pilot, so she
there
hates
you
when I say
go.
things like that, but they do.
Oh, look, I don't mind little planes so much. It's just when they are, made in this century or this was a really
it was old. Simone.
old plane. Yes, it was an old single prop plane. It fit 5 people, so the 4 of us and the pilot. The pilot was very young. I'm sure he was very capable, but still had acne, which doesn't fill you with a lot of confidence. And my husband looked at me and he went white as a ghost, and he's like, "You're sitting in the front."
Hey, he's probably been flying since he was 4, out in the bush.
Exactly. I know I should never judge. Wrong of me to judge. But he got us there safely, and that in itself was a journey. Sitting next to the pilot coming into land on a dirt strip in the middle of nowhere, because we literally landed on this dirt strip, and then there was a boat waiting for us to then take us to our retreat. So it was like we were in Mission Impossible, going from this tiny plane onto a boat off to here, and then of course you arrive and there's a crocodile waiting on the sand for you as you pull up in the boat with no jetty, and they're like,
you've really described the opening scenes to a movie. Spectacular.
Exactly. Yeah. Cue the credits.
Can people stay the night there?
Yeah. So we stayed 3 nights. It was
in a hotel? Was it another
retreat?
bougie?
Yeah, it's a retreat. So they have glamping tents, and it's really known for its fishing in the Tiwi Island.
I was going to ask, have you ever had a night in a luxurious hotel because you've just wanted a beautiful shower or something like that? Sounds like you've had a few, actually.
We have. I think we've broken it up a couple times because, sometimes you need, this sounds ridiculous, you need a holiday from your holiday.
Well, this is your life now. This is, for a year.
It is, yeah. No, look, my parents actually came and visited us in Broome, and we stayed for a week in a hotel with them, which was amazing and a really great break from just, the sort of lack of space and the ins and outs of caravan life. But look, I once remember early in the trip just desperate for a really good shower, and I went to the local pool to do laps just so I could go and have
really? That's
shower.
a good idea, Simone. Oh, these are great. Do you miss good coffee, or can you get good coffee on the road? I'm a bit of a coffee snob. I've got my favourite places, in Sydney. Do you miss that? Do you miss shopping in a department store?
I miss online.
I was going to say, can you get online shopping? Oh my God, you're about to tell me no.
I miss online shopping because I haven't been able to have it posted anywhere.
Yes.
But, actually, no, I lie. You can get it posted to post office ahead of time. They will take deliveries, and so will some caravan parks, that sort of thing. But no, my answer's quite basic. You know what both my husband and I miss like crazy? Our dishwasher.
Oh, yeah.
Don't we have to wash the dishes?
I feel you. I use mine every day for 3 people. Isn't that terrible? Now, this may be, I don't know, a point of contention. Schooling on the road. Is that hard? Is it easier than expected? Please tell me, because that's what all the parents want to know.
Yeah, look, I have renewed respect for the teachers of Australia, the classroom teachers. No one wants to be taught by their mum and dad, do they? It's tough. But no, my boys have been incredible with it. There's basically sort of 2 routes you can take with sort of doing schooling when you're living in a caravan. That's homeschooling and distance education.
Yes.
Homeschooling kind of puts the onus on you to come up with a curriculum and a plan and to sort of lodge things with the Board of Studies or the government. Distance education means you have a government-provided sort of school. For us, that's Sydney Distance Education. And you have teachers, and they provide you with the curriculum, the schoolwork, a platform to lodge your schoolwork, and in our case, even weekly Zoom classes and calls with their teachers. So that's what we've done. We literally each term they mail us out a big pack with the boys' work, in folders of week 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So it's all sort of broken down. There are readers in there. There are resources like rulers and sort of, counting blocks and things like that they might need. Great. And we just have to, upload, do the work. So my husband and I, we're known as the supervisors. So we help them with the work, oversee it. We sort of upload it to the portal to be marked, and then they chat to their teachers once a week just to check in. So, look, it's worked really well for us. I'm not going to lie, we're all looking forward to going back to actual school.
Okay, yeah.
But the boys are learning so much on the road. All the things we're doing, the places we're going. For example, we went to Carnarvon, we went to the Space Museum there, which was, instrumental on some of the Apollo missions. And then that night we, back in the caravan, we watched Apollo 13 and, they're sort of learning, obviously being in Darwin with all the, history, the war history up here. It's in the Cyclone Tracy and all the things that we've learned at the Royal Flying Doctors Museum that we went to up here. They're taking in so much on the road. And that stuff, I think, is the stuff they'll remember and that's invaluable. The schoolwork, we're just keeping on top of it so that when they get back, they'll hopefully, not have fallen behind.
Now, what about boredom? Do the boys ever get bored?
Oh, I reckon you should ask them that because I'm going to say no such thing as boredom, right?
Because you're quite strict with screen time, aren't you?
No screens in the car. That's always been a rule because then we can look at where we're going. That's the whole point, right? All these incredible places.
Exactly.
Having said that, we've listened to the entire Harry Potter audiobooks in the car as a family as we've driven, the thousands of kilometres we've done. But yeah, look, you're still going to get bored every now and again. But the good thing is we're in a new place every now and again, like every couple of days, There's always, something new to find outside or some new people to meet or new things to do.
I think we should get the boys in if they're ready, if they're daring to have a chat with me. Do they want to be on Snacks and Suitcases?
They have been waiting. So look, can you even hear the door? Here they come. Look, they heard from outside. I knew they were listening.
Hi, boys. Okay, so who have we got here?
I'm Louis.
Louis.
Come here.
And where's Bo? He's hiding.
Hi.
Bo. Boys, how are you enjoying this journey? Is it the best thing you've ever done in your short lives?
Yeah, 100%. It's been so fun. Yeah.
Louis, so you're 10 years old, you're in year 5. Where is your favourite place that you've visited so far?
There's just been so many on this trip, but I really enjoyed Melbourne because I'm a big sports fan and there was a lot of sporting activities on when we were there.
What's your favourite sport?
Football.
What's the weirdest or funniest thing you've seen on the road?
Probably we went to the nudist beach in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh, really?
That was the same of my one too.
That's the funniest thing you've seen?
Yeah.
That was accidental, I'm going to throw in there.
Okay,
we
Mum.
went to this beach and we had to look around and this guy just naked walking across the beach like nothing he ever was wrong. Mum took her phone out and started clicking.
Mum, is that true?
Documentation, of course. So we had to, if you didn't post it didn't happen, right?
You get to have all kinds of experiences when you live the van life, don't you? What is the best thing about living in a caravan?
Well, I personally like to be all together in one room. I don't.
That's nice. Do you have a bunk bed? That's what my daughter wanted to know. Do you have bunk beds?
We have 2 bunk beds behind us.
Oh, that's the bunk beds. Cool. Who gets the top bunk?
Well, we change every once in a while.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's really kind of you. What drives you nuts about living in a caravan?
The space.
So it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's nice to be close, but then you can start to feel like
I want my own room.
Oh no, Bo's shaking his head.
Yeah. I want my own room.
Oh, you want your own room? Okay. All right, boys. How do you stay in touch with your friends?
Well, we Zoom call them once in a while, and there's an app we have called Messenger Kids, and we talk to them over that.
Oh, that's cool. Do you miss your friends?
Yeah, lots.
Yeah. What do they think of this experience?
They're so jealous of what we're doing.
Yeah. And they're so excited for us to come back.
Oh, I bet they are. You realise this is a pretty cool experience, right? Like not many kids would have done this in Australia.
No.
I can see that.
Now, Bo, you're 8. What year are you in?
I'm year 2.
Now, tell me more about Bo and Bunny. How did that come about? Was that your idea?
It was my idea. So we had to write a whole script to Mum and Dad all about it, and yeah.
You had to convince us that it was a good idea to have your own YouTube channel, didn't you?
So Bo and Bunny is a YouTube show and it's your way of learning about all the animals you meet on the road.
Like we've seen and done and seen plenty of them.
What's your favourite episode of Bo and Bunny?
Crocodiles.
Crocodiles. Oh, I haven't watched that one. Do you go up close to them?
In the Adelaide River.
Yeah, and they just jump.
But aren't they scary?
Yeah, really scary.
Really scary. Louis saying yes, Bo's saying no. What's the scariest animal you've both seen?
Crocodile.
Yeah, crocodile. Bo?
I think that's pretty scary.
And this is another question from my daughter. How many toys did you bring from home?
Probably not all of my toys, but some of them.
Bo's got a very large collection of stuffed toys, which only a quarter of them, I think, made the cut, but it's still enough to fill his entire bunk bed.
Oh, my gosh.
Not really.
That's so cool. Have you collected any more on the way?
No.
Yeah. You didn't get a stuffed crocodile?
He wants to.
I want to get a real crocodile.
A real crocodile, Mum. What do you reckon?
No, we'll pass on that.
Your dad had one, didn't you? So why am I not allowed one? No,
Your grandpa had a pet
yeah.
crocodile. Yeah, that was back in the 60s.
why did I not have another one? I want to be back in the 60s and get a crocodile. Here's from the 60s.
Boys, the snack bag. I hear you've got one in the car. Who's in charge? I want to know all the details.
Mum's in charge of a snack bag. But I eat the whole bag.
So it's on the passenger seat floor, but Bo, it should be in the back seat because Bo always asks for it.
So it's on the passenger seat floor. Oh, what are your favourite snacks to have on the road?
I don't think I have a favourite snack.
You're jelly.
I like all of them. I like all of them.
All of them. Did you say jelly snakes, Louis?
Yeah, Bo's are jelly snakes.
Yeah, yum. I love jelly snakes too. Are there any snacks that you're so over you just wish Mum would buy you something different?
Seriously, does? Oh, no, I like them. I like those Carmen's ones.
Really? You are the second person to say that on Snacks and Suitcases. Carmen Muesli Bar.
Toby's.
Well, thank you, boys. I know you've done your homework already today, so you can go off and play soccer again, I guess. Final words of advice that you would give families who are considering doing this, a big lap around Australia.
Number one, do it. If you've got any inclination of doing anything as crazy as this, 100% do it. There's never going to be, a good time. We quit our jobs. We rented out our house. We took the kids out of school. It was a lot of work, but it was so worth it. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. So, I'm really glad that we did do it. The second thing I would say is go on a little holiday first. Unlike us, get familiar with your equipment and your vehicle and everything before you embark on a year-long adventure. Make sure this lifestyle's for you as well. It's not for everyone, but it can be so beneficial and rewarding and amazing.
Yeah. So just do it. Take a test drive holiday first.
Absolutely. And then another thing, someone told me this, which was great. It was the 3x3x3 rule, which is never drive for more than 300 kilometres a day if you can. That's kind of like, a limit. When you're going 80 kilometres an hour, that's going to be 4 or 5 hours once you stop for snacks and, toilet breaks and all that sort of thing with kids. Try never to arrive at a campsite later than 3 p.m. Because sometimes things can go wrong on the road and you might find your journey takes longer and then suddenly you're setting up at night time or you get lost because it's dark or things like that. And then the last one, aim to sort of stay at a location for 3 days, no less, I think, or maybe 2 days is okay, but any less and you're going to feel like you're just on this sort of, hamster wheel of setting up and rushing and you're not going to get to appreciate a location or get to enjoy the benefits. You can obviously stay longer if you'd like, but I think it does start to sort of get fatiguing setting up and packing down and moving all the time. So sort of that 3x3 is a good kind of rule.
Don't drive for more than 300 k's a day. Try to check into your campsite before 3 p.m. Check in. I'm using my hotel terms. And stay somewhere for at least 3 days.
Yeah, that's it.
excellent tips. And you know how you did all these courses before you went? Do you think you still could have handled it without that knowledge?
No. I'm glad we did that. Having never done anything before, it got us sort of prepared for it, that's for sure. So, enrolling in the towing course. I think even some insurance companies request that you even do a towing course. I have to look into that to make sure I've got that correct. It might be in different states. I don't think it was a prerequisite for us, but we decided to do it anyway just for our knowledge because we'd never done it before. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also the company you use to hire the caravan and have all that assistance.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's been incredible. And they're incredible people, and they have just honestly helped us out so much when things have gone wrong. They always answer the call, and it's like we kind of laugh. We're like, oh, you must like cringe every time you see our name pop up on your phone. They're like, no, it's great. We love it. We love seeing what you guys are up to. We love living vicariously through you guys. It's amazing. And yeah, they've just been an amazing support. But it'll be really sad though when we have to drive back into their gates and return the caravan after 12 months. But yeah.
Do you think you'll do something like this again?
No. I think I've had my caravan fix. I think it's honestly served our purpose, but given the option of staying in a hotel as opposed to a caravan in some locations, yes. But then having said that, there's some locations you just can't get to and you cannot access without a caravan. So look, never say never. Maybe one day I will be an actual legit grey nomad. But I
plenty of years to go
I'm
for
not
that
going to
one.
miss the caravan for a while, that's for sure.
Yeah. How has this trip changed your family?
In so many ways. Just even seeing how much the boys have changed in this short period of time has been incredible. But look, I think we have spent more time than ever together. Part of that inspiration of doing this trip was the fact we were like ships passing in the night, my husband and I, same with the kids. It was all about logistics, and you know what it's like, taking them to all the events and dropping them off and picking them up and not having meaningful interactions and time. Like Louis, my eldest, has really shown an interest in cooking since we've been on this trip, and we've been cooking in the caravan. We say our specialty is big meals in small spaces because cooking in a caravan is hard work, but he has really loved doing that, and it's been great to have him kind of helping with the last few weeks with pretty much every meal that we've made. He's been in there helping, so that's been great to see. Yeah, my husband and I, spending time together, all of us, and doing fun things. Actually, having said that, I remember early on the trip, I think it was sort of week 8 or something, we were somewhere and Louis turned to Luke and I and he said, "It's really nice seeing you guys laughing together." And I was just like, I know. It was like all the crappy things that were going on at that point. It just made it all worthwhile because
that
it's
is
exactly
beautiful.
right. Like we were having fun. We weren't talking about who was picking who up, and we were running along a beach kicking a football, or we were learning to surf in Margaret River, or we were fishing somewhere. We were doing fun stuff together.
And you're doing all these first at the same time as your kids.
Exactly right.
That's what I love about travel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. And this, obviously, I'm sure the take-home message you're getting is this is a challenging experience, but it's a challenge we've done, and we've done it together. And that's been, I think one of the most, the proudest moments for me is that it's something that we've all done together. And when we have had dark moments where one of us has gone, I don't know if I can, keep going, the other one's been strong and been like, no, come on, we're right. And then vice versa. So we've all kind of, rallied to keep going, and keeping going has led us to incredible locations and memories that we will never forget.
All right. So this is my Fast 5. Are you ready? It's got to be quick, Simone.
Okay, here we go.
What's the weirdest thing you've eaten while traveling?
Camel milkshake.
Yummy?
Humpalicious is what it was called.
Okay. First thing you'll do when you get back to city life?
Have a long shower and put the dishwasher on. Long hot shower, sorry, I should add.
One thing you never leave the van without?
Air guard at the moment for all the mozzies.
If budget wasn't a factor, what's your dream destination?
Probably to continue going on to Queensland. I feel terrible we haven't been able to do the full lap and full loop up around Queensland, and even to Tassie too. You can take your caravan on the ferry across there as well. It's expensive, but that would be the other thing, to do the whole of Australia.
And finally, what's your favourite snack to pack in the heavily guarded snack bag?
Oh, I can tell you what it's not, and that's jelly snakes. Ugh.
Simone, you're like the only person I know who doesn't like them.
No. Yeah, I see enough snakes on the road.
Okay, fair enough.
Bliss balls. I love those bliss balls. You know, those date ones. Yeah. It's health and wellness nerd in me coming out.
No, that's fantastic. Someone's got to be healthy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Got to rein in all those jelly snakes.
Well, thank you so much, Simone, for giving me your time, your whole family's time. I know Luke's back there somewhere wrangling the kids.
Yeah, probably like shaking his head at all the things I'm saying because they can all hear me outside. They're laughing. Yeah, he is. Louis just waved and said, yeah, he is. But
cool.
Thank you, Sally. I could talk to you forever. So thanks for having me on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And enjoy your next stop, Kakadu. Good luck. Reconnecting with my old friend Simone was so nice. We've known each other for maybe nearly 20 years. We both work in television, so our paths have crossed many, many times in similar roles. But it was really great to see her enjoying, loving, thriving on this big lap around Australia with her family. And wasn't it so beautiful to hear her son say that his mum and dad looked like they were having a good time together? I think he said it's nice to see them laughing. Kids really do notice everything. And it was also great to hear from her boys as well. If Simone has convinced you and your family to do a big lap around Australia and you've got questions, her Instagram is @BigLappers. And don't forget Bo and Bunny's Adventures on YouTube. It is very cute. Your kids are going to love it. All this will be in the show notes, along with any other valuable information like the company that provided her with the caravan, Off the Grid Caravan Hire. How great did they sound? If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a review. I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you have any episode requests or travel questions. And don't forget to share this with your fellow travel-loving families. Until next time, happy travels.
And don't forget the snacks.